This segment of Locked On Big 12 is different. No ads, and I will donate every dime made from this video to a cause from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Sean Hammond of Cougar Board is helping me out with that. After I read the story of Brandy Hicken, I can't get it off my mind. And I have a strong message to Brett Yormark of the Big 12 Conference to put an emphatic end to religious hate in the Big 12, specifically against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This is the story of Brandy and Jared Hicken, who were survivors of a temple shooting in Michigan at their temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who decided to go out in public after being attacked for their faith and wear BYU gear to a game against Cincinnati. At Cincinnati, they walk into the stadium. Their 3 kids, also survivors, taking a leap of faith to even be there. And in the midst of this game, Cincinnati fans break out in the chant, F the Mormons. That is, can you imagine surviving a shooting and the second you go to escape the very religious hate that nearly cost you your life, you walk back into a venue where the people around you say you're not welcomed, you're not wanted. The Big 12, no fine is enough. There has to be legitimate reprimand to the University of Cincinnati and to every school that partakes in this. 15-yard penalty, unsportsmanlike, something that affects the game itself. Otherwise, this will not end, and it must. For myself, as someone of faith, these stories are so sad. And in the letter, this is a picture, if you're watching on YouTube, of Brandy and her husband. In the letter, she shared publicly and recounted the emotional cost of attending the game as a date night to help the family find safe, she quotes, some sort of safety and normalcy again following an attack for her faith 2 months prior. Anti-Mormon, anti-LDS hatred resulted in a truck ramming a building, arson, gunfire, wounding her and her husband and her 5-year-old daughter. She was wounded. They were wounded in the shooting. She described the courage in this post. That was one of the saddest pieces, was she described the courage of even going to the game. How hard it was to get up, to get dressed, to put BYU gear on and go out in public because she had just been attacked, physically attacked for her faith, and then she does it. And so if you're a BYU fan, here's why I want to call out some BYU fans. There were people who said online, hey, if Cincinnati does this, we have to have thicker skin. If Cincinnati does this, it's something that we just have to reckon with as BYU fans and move on. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. I've seen a couple of those comments and quotes on the YouTube and Twitter comment sections. My message, look at Brandy Hicken. Look at a family of 5. She described the courage that it took, noting, and this is another quote that I wrote down, I was nervous putting on my BYU fan gear that day because I knew it would identify me as one of the, quote, Mormons. Anxiety. I cannot imagine the mental toll that the entire situation has taken on her and the family, and yet she has the courage to go to a game. And here's F the Mormons. But it's just sad, I wish that I could attack this from a more journalistic perspective and give you a really strong, take here or keep emotion out of it. But it's sad. She explains that while she heard the chants before, the recent violence made it intolerable. That these are just, Doug, I had to write down notes for this to even know what to say. This quote stuck out to me. She said, now that we Mormons have been quite literally targeted, attacked, chased, shot at, and some of us killed simply for being, quote, Mormon, this chant is no longer just disheartening. It's crippling. It's personal. It's unacceptable, period. Hicken noted the stadium announcement warning against such chants, but pleaded with athletic director Mr. Cunningham for stronger enforcement, urged him to, quote, remove them from the game, don't let them come back, educate them on the seriousness of their actions. And the letter concluded with a request for the ability to enjoy life without fear of being targeted and attacked for religious beliefs. Signed by Hicken, and this is heavy. I know this is very heavy, but when she signed the post itself, she said, sincerely, Brandy Hicken, a fellow college football fan, a Mormon, a Christian, a mass casualty, hate crime survivor, a human deserving of respect. Also noting that many people have reached out for comment in the media. These are the comments she's going to make. There's no appearance, and I wouldn't put it on her to join Locked On Big 12 or anything else. I think reporters that are asking for interviews have probably stepped a line. She gave you a pretty clear view of what her last 2 months have looked like, and now what the week following the game at Cincinnati have looked like. Again, as somebody who is, I'm evangelical myself, these are Christians. And I don't care if they were Jewish. I don't care if they were Muslim. I don't care if they were Scientologists. I couldn't tell you a thing about Scientology. But the second that as a mass group of people, namely in the wake of hate crimes against a specific belief, a specific religion, when a mass group of people decide to tell you you're not cared for, we hate you, in the wake of BYU donating 27,000 pounds of food, the largest donation in history of the food pantry at the University of Cincinnati, BYU fans are feeding Cincinnati students. They are feeding students that are probably in that student section or fan section that are chanting F the Mormons. And you know what? For a large part of this, I don't personally blame the 21-year-old. I don't blame the 20-year-old. I blame the university. I blame ignorance. I blame a lack of religious education. And honestly, what I blame more than any of that is a lack of reprimand, a lack of consequence for this. You should be thrown out of the game. If you chanted F the Baptists, you chanted F the Christians, you would be thrown out of the game. You should be given a 15-yard penalty. $50,000 fine is not going to do anything to these kids. They don't realize they're paying that with their tuition. It's not going to change anything. This is the time for Brett Yormark to step up and say, okay, I'm done. It won't happen again, and here's why. And set forth parameters to ensure that the Big 12 Conference makes everyone feel welcome in the league. Because stuff like this goes from, we can, let it roll off. We can tolerate this as a BYU fan. We can tolerate this. People have chanted it before. It's just they don't know what they're saying. It's not just that. It's Brandy Hicken and her family sitting at the game at Cincinnati and hearing that they're not welcome 2 months after they survived a shooting. It is people who are enabled and have this idea that, wow, well, if 60,000 people hate the Mormons, man, this is a religious group that I can target. This is something that deserves to be targeted. And that's just not the way it should be. It's Thanksgiving week. I am thankful for you, and I am sorry that this is such a heavy topic to bring up, a day out of what hopefully is a great Thanksgiving with your family. But there are multiple families who will celebrate Thanksgiving without their loved ones who died in the name of being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I think we should recognize as the conference, as the Big 12, that those people, those lives matter to the point where we can reprimand those who spew religious hate. That's my message. And Brett Yormark, I hope you take it. I really do. No fancy music to get us in, no fancy music to get us out, no ads here. And the money that comes in from this video, if you're watching on YouTube, will be donated to a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints cause. So this has been, it always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making this show your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.